My name is Orna Matzner. I'm from Chief Scientist Bureau in the Ministry of Environmental Protection. Start with the Ministry of Environmental Protection. Is responsible for the formulation of a national integrated and inclusive policy for the protection of the environment. The ministry operates on 3 levels: national, regional, and local. The ministry has professional divisions that deal with a myriad of environmental issues like air quality, waste, chemicals, wastewater, contaminants, soils, open spaces, biodiversity, and a lot more. Noise, radiation, I just need whole time, but any environmental issue is dealt in our ministry. So, in order to form policy, we need data. What is the state of the environment? And therefore, the main activity in order to establish such a data system is to monitor the environment. So we collect and analyze data on the state of the environmental sources, and I mean land, air, water, sea, and biodiversity. Sometimes we are doing this with cooperation with other bodies. We monitor pollution and environmental damage. As I mentioned before, when we are talking about environmental damage, it's not only chemical pollutants, but there are physical agents like radiation and noise, and there are biological agents like mosquitoes that can transfer diseases like West Nile fever and others. And of course, we manage the waste collection and treatment. And when I'm talking about waste, I'm talking about solid waste, wastewater, and hazardous waste. So what are the main data sources? So in some cases, we just monitor, like air quality. We have stations that monitor specific pollutants like PM2, PM10, NOx, SOx, and others. The ministry gives permits to discharge pollutants to the streams and to the sea. And these permits are also basis for data collection, because we know exactly what we allow and what was done. Some big plants that emit many pollutants need to report to the ministry. So these reports also become a data source for the state of the environment. Another option is to calculate emissions according, for instance, the fuel use, and many calculations are done here in the CBS. We are making surveys, specific ones, for instance, for the composition of solid waste, how much plastic, other materials. And of course, there are research projects that also give us some data and some pictures. So the outcomes of all these collections, well, all the data are on our website, www.sviva.gov.il. Sviva means environment in Hebrew. So, and also on our website we have GIS maps. So one can enter the GIS maps and find the location he wants to know, what is the state of the environment, and find some data that relate to the specific location you choose. We make publications. One of the, if we're talking about all the environment, of course the publications are specific topics, but once 2 or 3 years, we publish a report on state of the environment. And in this report, we mention all the topics that we deal with. And we get the data from our ministry, but also from other ministries, and of course from the CBS. We transfer data to the Statistical Abstract of Israel. We work with head of agriculture, energy, and environment sector here. And we send reports to many programs. Most of them are international programs that we work with. Some of them are international conventions that the ministry has ratified, and then we have to transfer data. The target audience. First, the policymakers. We need this data from all the topics in order to form policy. And second, all the stakeholders, NGOs that you know, environmental NGOs are very active, and they can use the data. Of course, researchers, for instance, the air quality values from the specific stations. I think the most people who get into this, to all these numbers, are researchers. And of course, the public that is interested, it's all transparent and it's on our website. So I'll give two examples. One is air quality. The National Air Monitoring System consists of more than 100 stations across the country. The main goals are building a national database, identifying main sources of pollution, planning policy for the long term, and keeping the public informed. Stations are operated by different bodies and entities. Some belong to our ministry, others belong to municipalities, to town associations, and even big plants have air monitoring stations. The ministry station, known as the Israel Air Monitoring Network Laboratories, received accreditation for testing in June 2013, and we are very proud of it. This is new, and the other stations not belonging to the ministry should transfer, according to the Clean Air Law, the new law should transfer the data to the monitoring network, and the ministry has to ensure the transfer of the data and its consistency and reliability. So the outcomes, we can see here a map that is on our website, and each one can get to the area he wants to look at, and from the areas you can go to specific stations and to see online the data. There are some areas with different colors. This is some calculations of very good air quality, moderate, and low air quality. In addition, we publish monthly and annual reports. And of course, we transfer the data to the CBS, and some of it are published in the statistical abstracts. Another example is pollutant release and transfer registers. This is the PRTR. I choose to take this example because it is new. The law passed last year. And this registry, the Israel's PRTR law, requires facilities to report on the emission and transfer of 140 pollutants emitted to the air, to water, marine water, and soil, as well as on waste transfers. So the first stage was few months ago, and the facilities transferred the data. And of course, the requirements to calculate the data are in accordance with the European Waste Catalogue and Hazardous Waste List. And the first report of our ministry, because when we get the data, we should analyze it and then publish it. So the first report will be published by the end of the year. And this registry will give us another data source, a bigger data source in order to evaluate the environment. Cooperation between the MOP, the ministry, and the CBS. Well, we don't have a statistical network, but we cooperate in most of the areas: air quality, climate change, wastewater, and environmental indicators. We transfer data to CBS in order that it will be published in the environmental section. And then we both participate in a SIZE project. And I want to say few words about this project, because from this project we want to look forward. First, the SISE is a shared environmental information system. This is a system conducted in Europe, and it has principles to collect, exchange, and use environmental data. So there is SISE program in Europe, and there is another program, ENPI SISE, led by the EEA. The ENPI SISE is a SISE project for neighboring countries of Europe.
Denmark.
Okay, so we are in Copenhagen. All the meetings are in Copenhagen.
We know Copenhagen very well.
Yeah. Okay. And this ENPI SISE, there are two representatives from each country. One is from environmental subject, and the other is from the statistical area. And in these projects, we choose indicators, reports data, and we transfer data. The project is dealt on waste, industrial emissions, and water. These are the subjects. They are identical to Horizon 2020, not a research project. One Horizon 2020, it's another program to depollute the Mediterranean. So these are the three subjects, and the ENPI SISE are the same subjects. And we transfer data on these areas, and we write two reports, one of the infrastructure of data collection here in Israel, and the other is state of the environment that we are doing it just now. And as said, this is for us to look for the future, because our goal is to establish a national SISE, a national shared environmental information system here in Israel. And of course, it will be with cooperation with the CBS, and we need to make a lot of efforts to reach there.